Tony McGill has never been one to seek the spotlight. For years, the husband of Caitríona Balfe remained a quiet, almost mysterious figure in the background of her dazzling career. While fans dissected every moment of Caitríona's on-screen chemistry with Sam Heughan, Tony stayed silent, choosing to protect his family life from the chaos of celebrity culture. But now, after years of speculation, endless tabloid rumors, and the relentless noise of fandom gossip, Tony has finally broken that silence, and his words are not what anyone expected. Instead of jealousy or bitterness, Tony spoke with gratitude. Gratitude for Sam Heughan, the man who has stood beside Caitríona through nearly a decade of Outlander, and the friend who has defended her against lies that spiraled out of control. Sam has been more than a co-star to Caitríona, Tony shared softly. He's been a shield, a steady presence during the times when the pressure felt unbearable. For Caitríona, fame arrived like a tidal wave. In 2014, she went from a respected but relatively unknown actress to the face of one of television's most passionate love stories. Alongside Sam Heughan, she embodied Claire Fraser, the time-traveling nurse whose love for Jamie became a phenomenon that spanned continents. But with fame came intrusion. Fans blurred the line between character and actor, convinced that the bond between Jamie and Claire must also exist between Sam and Caitríona in real life. And when Caitríona shocked the world by marrying Tony McGill in a small, private ceremony in 2019, many fans refused to accept it. The attacks were subtle at first: whispers online, disappointed posts in fan forums, a refusal to acknowledge Tony's presence in Caitríona's life. Then came the uglier side. Tabloids speculated about secret relationships. Social media trolls suggested that her marriage was a facade. And when Caitríona privately welcomed her first child in 2021, keeping her pregnancy away from the cameras, the rumors only grew louder. Through it all, Sam Heughan became both a scapegoat and a lightning rod, accused by some of being too close, by others of hiding something. Tony watched it all unfold, and though he stayed silent, he paid attention. He saw how Sam handled the speculation, how he deflected invasive questions with humor but never allowed Caitríona to be diminished. He remembered the times when gossip spiraled out of control, the false claims of affairs, the fabricated stories about pregnancies, and how Sam stepped forward with sharp words, shutting down the lies. For Tony, those moments mattered. There were times when the pressure was immense, Tony admitted. Caitríona was hurt by the invasion, and it wasn't easy to carry. But Sam was always there, standing beside her, not just on set, but as a friend. He spoke out when he didn't have to. He took some of the burden on himself. That's something I'll always respect. It is rare in Hollywood to hear such words. More often, husbands are cast as jealous, rivals of the on-screen partners who dominate their wives' professional lives. But Tony's perspective flips that narrative on its head. Rather than seeing Sam as a threat, he sees him as an ally, someone who understands the unique pressures Caitríona faces, someone who has walked through the same storm and chosen to protect her rather than exploit it. This acknowledgement also reframes years of speculation. Fans who once painted Tony as the outsider, the man in the shadows, now see a different picture. A husband who has quietly endured the noise, confident in his marriage, and now willing to say thank you to the man who has been his wife's partner in survival. Sam doesn't need to defend Caitríona, Tony explained. But he does, and that tells you everything about the kind of man he is. The weight of those words is heavy. For years, Sam and Caitríona's friendship has been romanticized, twisted, and used as ammunition in a fandom battle that blurred reality with fiction. But Tony's voice cuts through the fog. It reminds everyone that what exists between Sam and Caitríona is not scandal, but loyalty. A loyalty strong enough that even Caitríona's husband chooses to celebrate it. In breaking his silence, Tony McGill has shattered a narrative that tabloids have tried to control for years. No longer is he the quiet figure ignored in the background. Now, he is the man who has spoken openly, acknowledging that while the world may gossip, his marriage stands strong, and his wife's closest friend is not a rival, but a protector. Tony McGill's words didn't just make headlines. They struck at the very heart of a narrative that fans had clung to for years. By openly acknowledging Sam Heughan's role in Caitríona Balfe's life, Tony reframed the conversation around friendship, marriage, and respect in a way few expected. For the first time, the man often cast as a background character in Caitríona's story stood firmly in the center, making his voice impossible to ignore. Sam is family to Caitríona, Tony said plainly. But not in the way people have tried to twist it. He's her friend, her partner on screen, someone she trusts deeply. That's all, and for me, that's more than enough. It was a powerful declaration, because it confronted two myths at once. The idea that Caitríona's marriage was fragile, and the idea that her friendship with Sam was something to be ashamed of. By speaking with such calm confidence, Tony redefined the boundaries of all three relationships: his marriage, Caitríona's friendship with Sam, and the fandom's unhealthy obsession with blurring them together. For Caitríona and Tony, privacy had always been a shield. Their 2019 wedding was famously intimate, attended only by a small circle of loved ones. The arrival of their child in 2021 was kept private until long after the fact. But that choice to guard their family life became, ironically, a weapon used against them. The less they revealed, the more tabloids speculated. And in the absence of truth, lies thrived. This was where Sam Heughan's presence mattered most. Again and again, when rumors spiraled out of control, whether about Caitríona's pregnancy, her marriage, or alleged secret relationships, Sam stepped in. Sometimes with humor, sometimes with sharp denial, but always with a clear message: Caitríona deserved respect. For Tony, this was not interference but loyalty. And in his statement, he made that loyalty public. There's a trust between them that I don't think many people will ever understand, Tony explained. But I do, and I respect it, because I know that trust has helped Caitríona survive the worst parts of fame. In a culture where celebrity marriages are often portrayed as fragile, Tony's stance was both rare and refreshing. Rather than feeding jealousy or suspicion, he chose gratitude. Rather than demanding the spotlight, he chose to amplify the truth that his wife's relationship with her co-star was professional, loyal, and ultimately a source of strength. But not everyone received his words with grace. Among the Outlander fandom, reactions split almost immediately. Supporters praised Tony for finally addressing the elephant in the room. "This is what we needed to hear," one fan tweeted. A husband secure enough to respect his wife's closest friend instead of resenting him. Others, however, refused to accept it. Some insisted Tony's words were rehearsed PR, a scripted attempt to cover up the real story. In darker corners of the fandom, conspiracy theories grew even wilder, with some claiming Tony's gratitude was proof of a secret arrangement. The backlash revealed the very problem Tony was trying to address: an unwillingness by certain fans to separate fiction from reality. To them, Sam and Caitríona will always be Jamie and Claire, no matter how many times both actors, and now Caitríona's husband, assert otherwise. Tony's words were meant to draw a boundary, but to some, boundaries are simply invitations to push harder. Still, the significance of his statement cannot be overstated. For years, Tony endured in silence while his marriage was questioned, his role in Caitríona's life dismissed, and his very presence erased from fan narratives. By speaking up now, he not only defended his marriage but also honored Sam in a way that cut through the noise. "I've never seen Sam do anything but protect Caitríona," Tony said. "And for that, I'll always be grateful." It was a rare glimpse into the human side of a story too often distorted by headlines. Behind the glamour of premieres, behind the feverish speculation of fandoms, lies a simple truth: three people bound not by scandal but by respect. Caitríona Balfe, navigating fame while building a family. Sam Heughan, carrying the weight of global stardom while defending his friend. And Tony McGill, once silent, now speaking up to remind the world that love, friendship, and marriage can coexist without betrayal. In the end, Tony's decision to break his silence may not stop the gossip entirely. The machine of celebrity culture thrives on rumor, and Outlander's passionate fanbase will always find ways to speculate. But his words have created a counterweight, a reminder that there is a line between fiction and reality, and that crossing it has consequences. More than that, his statement was a tribute. A husband acknowledging not just his wife's accomplishments, but the quiet strength of the man who has stood beside her through every storm. In a world quick to pit men against each other, Tony McGill chose a different path: gratitude, respect, and honesty. And that, perhaps, is the loudest message of all.